Welcome to the Origin series, where we go over the origins of your favorite superheroes and villains, and help you get caught up with modern day comics. Venom is an alien life form. The villain known as Eddie Brock, who was Venom in the 90s, has moved on to bigger and better things as anti-Venom. The original Venom symbiote was captured and altered to make it more obedient. Flash Thompson is a US soldier, a Medal of Honor holder, and a true American patriot. And he agreed to willingly bond with the Venom symbiote to become the US's second attempt at a super soldier, a project known as Rebirth 2.0. He was selected because of his courage and his strength and his willingness to do anything. After a few chemical injections, he became Agent Venom. With wall crawling and web shooting, enhanced strength, shape-shifting based attacks, increased speed and agility, he was the newest super soldier in the US military. The story isn't about how he became Agent Venom though, because that one is pretty simple. I just explained it to you in the first minute of this video. The story is, how did Flash Thompson go from being a bully to Peter Parker and an all-around jerk in high school to a Medal of Honor holding soldier in the US military? So let's tell that story. Flash Thompson looked up to Spider-Man, he really did. He even started the Spider-Man fan club, and he posed as Spider-Man for fun. That is until Dr. Doom kidnapped him, assuming that he was the real Spider-Man. He looked up to Spider-Man to use him as an example of how to be a hero, how to lead his life properly. He wanted to just be a hero like Spider-Man. He wanted to save people's lives, but he didn't have any superpowers. So he joined the military in hopes of making a difference. This is where the real story begins, with his tour in Iraq. Everything seemed to be going just fine, until they were struck by an IED, turning the vehicle over like a tea kettle. He could have given up right there and then, and just not even try. The striker was sitting atop its own door. It would have taken an immense amount of strength to lift it, but he used Spider-Man's example. Never give up until you can't fight anymore. And he broke the door open. His squad was out of the furnace and into the frying pan because the insurgents were positioned over their heads and they began to open fire on them. They were outnumbered and overwhelmed, but sometimes you need to stand up to something that is larger than you, something that you think you're incapable of accomplishing. So Thompson and his battle buddy Santos took point, and they entered into the enemy's hideout, pushing past the enemy fire. The problems only got worse from there though, as the insurgents were hopped up on drugs and they felt no pain, no fear, and nothing but the urge to kill the Americans. Thompson described it as if he was trying to stop a tank, because no matter how many bullets he pumped into them, they would just keep coming at him. So throwing caution to the wind, Thompson jumped on the insurgent and he used everything he had to try and stop him. He threw it all in and won the fight so that he and Santos could walk forward, then into a trap. The explosion was large and it took Santos completely out of the fight, and he was bleeding on the floor of the building. His only hope to live would be if Thompson could get help, but once Thompson turned around, he saw 6 insurgents ready to gun him down. Now most would say 6-on-1 is an impossible job, but Flash knows someone else who was able to overcome such odds. He knows that 6-on-1 isn't impossible. So he leaped backwards, and while his body armor protected his body, he took a few good shots in the legs. He then fled down some steps, leaving Santos up there with the insurgents. And he could have gotten away. He could have gotten to a medic and he could have saved himself. But Flash wasn't about to leave his battle buddy behind with those men. So he used another lesson given to him by Spider-Man, and he took the drugs off of the dead insurgent. He shot himself up so full of adrenaline that he couldn't feel the pain in his legs anymore. He couldn't feel anything at all. Because sometimes you need whatever edge you can get, even an artificial one. So he ran back into the room that had Santos in it, and he shot up every single one of those insurgents. And then he walked over and he carried Santos out himself, getting him to the medical evacuation point. If he had just worried about himself, if he had just left, they could have saved his legs. But would Spider-Man have saved himself? No, and neither did Flash Thompson. Heroes are made from their actions and their drive to do the right thing. You don't need spider powers or super strength or a healing ability, just the desire to be better. And Flash proved that on this day. It would take some time, but eventually Flash would get to use his legs again because he became Agent Venom. And he would get to go on to be one of the greatest owners of the Venom symbiote, as stated by their own race. Now guys, I'm not going to end this video with any plugs, because I want to tell you where this story came from. You see, the good folks over at Marvel were inspired to write this story from a real soldier who lost both of his legs and he was blinded by an IED explosion. You see, this issue was dedicated to this soldier and the 2 soldiers who lost their lives in the event that this is based on. So after close to 10 years of being in the military myself and 2 tours overseas, I want to dedicate the video that is based on this story to all of the soldiers overseas and the ones who didn't get to return home with me. Thank you and good night.